Hi. I'm ready to commit Celestia Ludenberg to death.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
If I made the convinces two murders were the same, that was an uncharacteristic of this time. Definitely do it safe. Because I misinterpret things all the time, so saving is for the best. If I wasn't going for flawless for the case, sure, I don't care. Hyoka must have noticed the fact from the very beginning. Which is why I should say not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Hyoka really is amazing, although, think about it, she's almost too amazing. It's almost unnatural how good she is at this. I mean, I picked up, I don't know if I'm right yet, but I still feel like she is the ultimate,
Then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
or a robot.
That's problem numero uno right now!
True killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end murdered him. The debates up until now and the way the case has unfolded wouldn't be considered all that. You're the only one person who seems to fit.
Here's my answer.
Here's my answer.
It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless goddamn idiot!
Lost your accent?
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? Encountering the suspicious individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
The shadow on the second staircase. Something moving around the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste was strong. That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. Someone in the strange costume man ran off as soon as I screamed. Blocking the stairs, we headed further down to the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Ungaya? Huh? What was that? Came from downstairs, it must have been. Hifumi's in the nurse's office. This is bad, come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we
Give me
split
30
up.
seconds. I'm here. What are we doing? I need to split up into two groups. Get the hunting party, that seems much more interesting. Go to Anhina, you will come with me. Need the capture of the suspicious individual Toko by Yokoyo and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
Surely I'm not expecting this. Not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must really be enjoying this. We're in the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys did.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
What do you mean? It only
Hear
means
that,
one thing.
Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
By who has said this last comment doesn't make sense. What is he alluding to? She knew that he was dead. What else could that even be?
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
We shout to.
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to.
We are going to die, just like those guys died.
And that is all.
And that's all it takes to finish this. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Shoot!
Which I don't know which one of us to me they all make sense is the issue. We could copy those guys and make any of them work. You also on phase 11? Revive. Oh, mine's probably Murray soon. Yeah. Danganronpa.
I got it!
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die.
We are going to die.
Just like those. And that is.
And that's all it takes. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
You copied so strange, I did it in the reverse.
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to. We are going to die.
Just like those.
Okay, I'll copy it again.
All it takes to. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
I hate it, man. I absolutely hate it.
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die here.
Like those
We are
guys
going to
did.
die.
Just like those.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to.
Bro, you were
set the
unconscious. They
picture.
just used you.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? Wasn't the picture of the suspect dragging from me away? Well, the possibility is
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Plus, I think she can prove there's no way Fumi was making the suspect away. Is that possible? Okay. I want to stop it.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright.
But he can't bend over.
If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, that's wrong!
No, that's wrong!
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
Totally can't bend at the waist, seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey, Fumi, who was it who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember their name. Yasu. Hiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hakakure!
Wait, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us.
Our CHP I saved so we can get this stinking achievements out of the way? Frick.
How did he refer to each of us?
He referred to people?
I got it! That's right. Our last names.
It's
Called us
Naegi.
all by our last names.
I remember, it says Mr. Naegi all the time.
I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
Celeste, we gave you all those teas.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
So, make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No, that's wrong.
Break!
That's it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
Handbook is absolutely vital to healthy school life, so don't lose it when you start up. It will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning.
Save
and
it.
shed light on all
Save
the
it.
crimes.
Save it.
that'll bring everything.
Closing climax interface. Like, what does this even indicate? This one doesn't make sense to me, man. We'll say it anyways, though.
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... The killer is you!
That's why we say need the perfect.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect, so when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit.
I'd like to say we
Next,
have it.
Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault.
I will love the save and
They
get the
did all
flaws.
this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds. That the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But
Yeah, I think we got it. Let me load the save, but I will also be right back.
while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's
I
office.
can't.
This was exactly what
One
Hifumi
sec,
was
one sec.
hoping for.
Apologies.
He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice
That's his
Hammer
ult?
3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time.
Why do they have
So
Celeste
when
as
we
a
heard
blackened
the
figure
body
here, though?
discovery announcement,
In that scene, I don't
we
see the point.
naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation.
That was just a reaction
Simply
image.
got
I don't
up
see why
and made a
she was
decision.
split as a blackened.
When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case.
May I let my save now?
And the villain behind it all is...
What are you doing?
Celeste. Sorry, you lose.
I lost?
Okay, loaded, so we get the perfect. Because I misplaced the very first one. Ah, frick. Danganronpa. Ah, frick. Sorry, don't drag it. Don't change the order on me. Nope, sorry. I'm aware, I'm aware. No, that didn't seem right. We're not gonna watch the entire thing again. We'll just skip it.
The killer is... you!
And now in the future we don't have to do this again. I mean, we almost did the no focus one last time. I just hit the run button halfway through the case, but I didn't rewind. Or I didn't reload the save, so... Wow. Slam. Rub rub. I mean, was he planning on just like hiding dead for the remainder of this stinking story? Was that his plan? Until Celeste killed somebody and then they were able to do an entire investigation and then he just hides?
Celeste, sorry, you lose.
I lost? I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Dago?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Maybe it should be an S, but that's just me. You gotta hit the button.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for.
There's my achievements.
To vote! Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
The movies are so quiet.
What?
Basically a formality at this point, but once you're totally correct. Blackened this time with the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely Taiko Yasuhiro. I lost, well that sucks. Guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Fumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
You really did approach Fumi with this plan. How'd you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. Sure she relied on a specialty line? A specialty? Don't make me laugh, I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then,
Then did you use, you figure it out, Kyoko? Absolutely right to get Fumi as the actor as accomplice. I used her. Everyone who's still alive have avoided mentioning it by name, but there's one thing that Fumi and Taiko were both super into. What you mean? Talking about alter ego?
Say what?
Wait, what were you talking about?
just a second.
Don't interrupt, we're in the middle of a very important conversation here. Totally out of the loop as usual, how's that?
In other words,
And you're the one who stole it?
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you was to drag Fumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Fumi a little visit. Oh, what are you doing here?
Actually,
Hoping to talk to you alone. A little about what was stolen, I know who did it.
what? Are you
It was
okay?
Taco, you stole it. What?
So
Do I have proof? Would you like to see? I found you a digital camera. Taking the, you know what, the Taco's room earlier and took pictures over there. Look at the pictures and that's shown it to Fumi, of course.
Damnation!
And so it was him. But how did he use it? How did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got too close to her. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
As for
Please
me,
forgive me, he threatened me.
Oh.
He did.
As for
Came
me,
to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
And took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
That's a crime, an absolute crime. And I mean, I knew he'd gone crazy, but never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. It's something I never said did my home before in my life. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to flip and kill him.
Most
Wait,
unfortunate.
please. If you go now, it will be playing right into his hands.
Actually,
Because putting the user to escape. And he made you as a target.
What?
You don't mean. I'm going to kill you.
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself. That dude.
Completely
That
unforgivable!
rude boy.
Honestly,
Allow him to continue with these barbaric acts. Absolutely not. How could I? She
I swear!
had to save her.
actually,
And would you like to join me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. Huh? I devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape with this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. We talking about? Oh, nothing. If only you could read it without second thought, the effect that item had on him was remarkable. Power of love, even love twisted as that can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me?
I see.
And the question for you was that strange costume of Fumi's creation.
indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt too. All I asked him to do was make something that hide that face and general body size. No idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But
Why did you decide to make me a suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
In that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though. I think I could cry.
Well,
First, he has his thinking crystal ball shattered, and now this. When you're explaining your plan to Fumi, how did you get him to? How did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was the Fumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live?
Are you okay?
That's
with
simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, and when someone showed up, told him he'd been seriously wounded, he was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. You really believe that? Well, of course, that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained to Fumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened, or am I going to murder someone else? At that point, Fumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. This is very straightforward, stereotypical. Just matched the line to the level of the opponent. In fact, if he made it up, he believed it the line wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the
He
end,
had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point in my plan if one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
Non-issue, I simply did everything in my power to win.
don't be mean!
I think by Akoya,
I wonder about
no one
that.
derives his pleasure from the thrill of a hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
I made you take things this far.
What the heck?
Was it really just for money? Talking about the $10 million Monokuma offers, that is a lot of money, it's true. But it was $1 million. Not all there is to it. The moment our new life began here, my only thought has been to escape.
But
All along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You
Obviously,
little
that wasn't a
bitch.
lie. Huh?
Hey,
I take it, I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
you
Wanting
little
to get out every day
bitch.
was fresh torture. You wanna know why, huh?
This is fine.
I had a dream. Something in life here wouldn't have meant nothing less than giving up that dream forever.
Honestly,
No way that I could ever do that. Underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
as for me,
Was all that dream? What was a dream of yours?
isn't it
Live in
wonderful?
a European castle? No castle. Why do they all red eyes, though? Other handsome men of them all over the world to serve as my butlers / bodyguards. Made them dress up as vampires and satisfy my every need. But like, why? If I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Then the rest of my life, there was only a dream, my only goal. What life was all about. But like, why? By all my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made the dream a reality. Got right to the edge, but
There is nothing
fortunately
to
my
be
dream
done.
has been scattered to the wind. I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream till the very end, so you know why. So why would I?
The worst.
I'm so passionate, but you really were able to kill your own friends for it.
Oh,
It asked me to feel guilty as a pointless endeavor. Think nothing of sacrificing others for my own needs. I feel nothing.
do you
That's all there is to
understand?
me. That's what makes me complete. Is it terrifying how different our values are? Simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying, and plus, how can you be so calm when you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? Brutalize, unrivaled, and take pride in it. Not just other people, I can even feel my own emotions, the consciousness, the consciousness. That's why you're not scared.
Yes,
That's right,
indeed.
enough for your death. Kill me however you wish. Well, you know, if I could be reincarnated, I had a choice then.
Isn't it
You
wonderful?
would like to come back as Mary Antoinette.
Hey.
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then, and when she did, it looked like to me like a poor effort to force it. Claimed she could fool her own feelings. But the statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak fake smile is what betrayed her.
Thrills,
You all done? Okay, let's get rolling. The black and
chills.
disturbed the peace and must pay the price.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment. Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this.
What?
This is
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again, in another life.
she gonna be lit on fire. Burning of the Vasales, which I mean, so far we've had someone get juiced by driving too fast, someone getting pelted with baseballs, and now someone being burned alive. I think Celeste may have got it the worst. I still don't really get Mondo's death. He drove around in the ball, and then he was turned into butter. So, she didn't burn alive. Look at that. Who would have thought that would have happened? Why you gotta do it like that, man? It's over. Third execution is over. Plus his death is over. That's killed my friend, so I can't pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point consider her a friend too. All those teas. And for him to just come along and isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their regrets from the outside world and so more people had to die. You guys are still young, you need to place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna
Geez, and
do?
here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope with the next generation. Next generation. What do I care about hope? I'll throw it into the trash if you ever let me out of here. Let me out of here!
Too bad.
You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. I mean, doesn't it knock you down one by one? It's sad, but yes. It's sad, yes it is, but this really just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make keeping us? How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it the rest already. Put the calls away, Bear. Anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key type object from Celeste?
Hey!
So what's the deal with that?
What?
What's the matter?
So then,
Answer your question if you answer mine.
you.
What did you do? What did you do to me?
Who?
What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body?
Ooh, how exciting.
Oh man, oh geez, what do you mean? What did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. What was that just now? Mastermind did something to Kyoko's body? What does that mean?
Hello.
Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I got out of here. With the flower that comes out of his armpit.
Well,
Meanwhile, you guys can go on enjoying your school life. Leah will only give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course.
see
See ya. See you later. Monica went disappear, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Still have 3 S-tier characters. Each inside their own respective category. The remaining 3. Hey, Kyoko and Monokuma already mentioned it, but... What's the key that Celeste gave you? It's her room key. Do you pay attention?
so.
You did one of the dressing room lockers? Or that? Wait, that means... Probably hid it there.
Hey,
But sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well, then we better go check. Dusted, burned.
Indeed.
Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. As we approach the dressing room, this is where I do a slash marker. We'll just keep playing this for a little bit longer. I don't care. Oh, we hit silver currency, by the way. Based. I will be right back.